Hello guys, welcome back to Mallikarjun 34 channel. This is Mallikarjun. So in this today's session, I'm going to demonstrate about how to use uh, OPatch automation, that is OPatch auto, because in my all previous videos we have seen so many patching exercise, patching videos of different one-off patches, CPU patches, bundle patches, so many videos. Whatever we seen it in earlier my videos, all are like manual methods. So most of the people are requesting for give me explanation on OPatch auto, and then what's the advantage of OPatch than your normal manual patching. So what I plan to do, I am gonna download the latest October 2021 critical patch update, uh, and then I'm gonna apply that patch on my rack database or rack clusterware home uh, using opatch auto, right? So uh, I'll just brief through in deep dive of the patching method, exercise, everything using opatchauto uh, in this particular video session. So if you are new to my channel and if you forgot to watch my previous videos, always go back to YouTube and search for Malik034, and then please do watch my previous videos. And if you like those, please do comment out and give a thumbs up and like my videos. Right. So if you are not aware that how to search for the patch, the quarterly release patches, as I already as I used to say that Oracle used to recommend apply the quarterly patches on regular basis in order to keep your database security compliance, and in order to keep your database in highly uh, secured and highly flexible, and then highly with whatever it is, like if you do a regular patching exercise, your database will be highly secured and most or more performance improved one, right? So the latest patch was released by Oracle is October 2021. If you're not aware how to search, you can always search critical patch update CPU program October 2021 patch availability document. So you'll see all these patch availability documents. So what I'm interested is October 2021. So I already opened here critical patch update CPU program October 2021 patch availability document. So I already explained how to use this document and all those things. So I'll directly jump into a section called 3 patch availability for Oracle product, especially that is 3.1 Oracle database. And in that 3.1 Oracle databases, what we are interested is Oracle database products. So other than Golden Gate, other things I'm not interested, like directly go into 3.15. That's my Oracle database patch availability for my Oracle database. And then you will see the various range from 21C, 19C, 12C, 12.2, 12.1, all the patches are available for all of them. And then uh, and then if I go with the 19C, because I have my rack clusterware, because ASM1 and ASM2, this is my 2 node rack. If I do OLS nodes, so this is give me a second, let me set that environment dot .env plus ASM1. So if I do OLS nodes, so this is Vara node 1 and Vara node 2 are my 2 rack nodes, CRSCTL stat resource -t, CRSCTL stat resource -t. So this is my entire clusterware, 2 node clusterware configuration. It is up and running on both nodes. This is on node 1. If I run the same command on the node 2 plus ASM2, right, CRCTL stat resource -t. So my clusterware is up and running on both the nodes. So I have only ASM is installed here. None of the database are configured here as of now. So ASM2 is running here. Same command, you can run it on the node 1. You will see ASM1 is running over there, right? So my ASM1 is running over there. So what I'm interested is I'm going to download 19C. I'll go back here, Oracle database server home, that especially GI release 19.13. That this is a patch number. You can see 33182.768. This is the patch number for my GI home. I already opened that patch information here. 33182.768 GI release. you can just click on this particular patch. It will go and it will open this window and then download that particular patch. And then if you want to open the README, you just click on this README and then you'll get into this README file. So if I go here on my U01 patches, I already U01, let me see, U01 patches. So you can see 3318, this is the patch 3318276. This is the 19C patch already downloaded on node 1 and also unzipped here. And if I go on node 2, U01 patches, you can see the same patch 3318276. Oh, and then already this patch is downloaded here, right? So the patch is already downloaded on both the cluster nodes. And then already I opened this README file. And then if you unzip that particular patch, and inside that you will pretty much see these particular 5 patches. You can see this particular patch is ending with 793.123.70.107 and 955 and 572. So these are the 5 patches you will see inside this particular patch directory. If I go inside this patch and quickly verify them, right? So these are the 5 sub patches you can see inside that CPU patch. Right, so we have all the patches are downloaded, and if you can read me of all these steps, and then all of these 5 patches you can see where to apply. If you're rack clusterware, and then you have to apply all those 5 patches on your grid home. So if I go down here, so if you validate your inventory, so this is a command. You can just validate that particular. Give me a second. So let me see here. I'll just validate my ls inventory. You just copy that command. You don't need to do anything on that. So just replace with the $sign. So you already set the environment. You can just run this command. opatch ls inventory detail -oh. That's your Oracle home. So if you run it, it's gonna give you a patch information for your grid home. Right. So same thing if you run it on node 2. Node 2 also will see detailed patch information for your grid home. So that's the first command you are going to run it here. Right, so that's a validation of your Oracle ls inventory, which is working or not. And then cd into that unzipped patch location. Already I unzipped, and the patch is already unzipped, and I can see all sub 5 patches. And then you can run this opatch config command. I'm gonna copy all these commands here. Right, so I'm just going to remove this one. This is not needed. Right, so this is your config check against patch directory, and you have to give that patch location. So my patch location is U01 patches. This is my patch location. So I'm just going to replace it here. Control H. So I'll just replace this one with my patch location and then replace all. So you can see all these 5 patches. You will see it here. So you can just copy this command and run it one at a time, or you can run it in a bunch of all these commands in one shot. I'm just going to run this one. So config check. Right, so it's successfully done for first patch, and the remaining 4 I'll run it in one shot. All 5, all 4 in one shot. Right, so succeeded, 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 succeeded. So all are like succeeded. And then similarly on node 2, you just copy all this 5 command and go to node 2 and run it. So this is like one command at a time. You're gonna check it out here. So rather than everything, you can keep it in one single file, and then you can pass that file for your config check. So that we're going to see. Everything is successfully done here. Config check is passed and OPatch succeeded. So you should see this particular message for all those 5 patches. Right. So, and again, go back to that README. This is your OPatch config check, and this is for your grid home, and this is for your Oracle home. So I'm not going to do for Oracle home because I'm interested on my grid home patching today. In this particular session, I'm going to do it only on the grid home. Right. So, and then run the system space check. So you have to create one temp file, and you have to pass that particular patch list. So I'm going to create this particular temp file here. I'll go here. I'll do vi, I'll create this one, and then I'm gonna copy all this the patch directory files. I'm just gonna do one patch. This is my second patch, and this is my third patch, and this is my fourth patch, and this is my fifth patch. So all these 5 patches you can keep it here in this single file, and then you can pass it. You can run this one. This is a command. I'm just gonna copy it here. So what you're gonna do here, if you're passing the patch directory, you have to use this patch base directory. If you're putting all this patch information in a file, you have to pass it as a patch base file. So here it is the directory, here it's a file. So that's the only changes here. So I'm just going to run this one here on this node 1. So let me cat this one, and then I'll do it on the node 2 as well. I'll just copy this one here. I'll do it on node 2. Right, and then I'm going to put all these 5 sub patches inside this file. Right, so done. Save it. Right, so now you can run this particular run this command here on node 1. I'm going to run it now. Right, so it's doing a system space check. It's passed. It's going to do it in one shot for everything. Right, so otherwise what you need to do, the same command, you can just run this one and run it here. So for all 5 patches in one single shot, it's going to do it. So you can just verify this particular log file for more information. If any failures are, you can always refer this log file. Right, so if you don't want to do this entire in one thing, so you have to use the same command. You have to use this same command 5 times. Sorry, I'll just make a command here. System space check, and you have to use this the patch 5 times. Right, so 1, I'm going to do it one more time, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have to use this instead of patch file, you have to use a patch base directory. Here you are using patch base file. Other than that, you are going to use patch base directory. So and then you have to individually pass all those 5 directories, whatever the sub patches inside that main patch. You have to use that all 5 sub patch directories. So you can just copy all this command and then run it here. Right, it'll do for one patch at a time. So here if you keep in everything in one file and do it, it'll do one time. It'll validate for all those 5 patches, and then if you do individually one at a time, so it's going to do for all 5 patches one at a time. It'll give you output for each patch. If you keep it in a file and then it'll give it in one single chat, it'll verify for all 5 patch. Right, so that's a like pre-checks or systems pre-check or config check. You have to do it, and then that is a manual one what we did. So there's a one more config check. So that's a Analyse, which will give you config detection and resolution, whatever, like everything it's going to give you here. If you can do it opatchauto, using opatchauto, apply and your patch location and with the Analyse option. So if I just copy this patch location and replace it here, and then instead of grid home, I'm just going to set it as a Oracle home, because that's what the environment is set. So just run this one and then do a Analyse. So it has to be run with the root user. So you can see this command, right? Hash indicates your root user. So I'm just going to copy everything here, and then I'm going to go to my node 1. I'll just exit here. I'm just going to do .orinv plus asm1. So I'm just going to run Oracle home, opatchauto, apply, and this is your patch location. And then this is with the hyphen Analyse. Analyse will do everything for you, like whatever the conflict analysis, whatever the issues with that patch, whatever, like you can always verify with this particular log. So I'll just go to my second session. I'll just do SSH node 1. I'll connect back to my node 1 here, and then I can tail this particular log file. Right, so I'll go back here, tail -f, and you can see this particular log file. it says Analyse online. So it's going to do Analyse online. So this is what executing OPatch prerequisites, verify this grid home and everything. It's going to do it online. So I'll just cancel this one and you can verify it here. Grep and your grid home and database, whatever running, sorry, everything will be like up and running. ps-ef grep smon. You can see like it's not going to touch anything here. All your database grid, everything will be up and running and everything goes fine without any issue. So right now this particular command failed here. Whatever OPatch Analyse we did, OPatch auto is successful, and summary is like you can see, you will see OPatch auto is successful, and this is a summary of this failure method. Analysis for applying the patches are failed. So this is your CRS home, this is your cluster version, and analysis is failed. Why it failed? You can see this particular log message. I know the failure message why. I'm going to explain it now here. The OPatch being used is version 12.2.0.1.17, which is following patches required version is higher version. Like following these 5 patches, whatever you're trying to apply, which requires 12.2.0.1 dot at least dot 27. Right now, whatever we have is dot 17, 1.17, but we need 1.27 is the uh, at least the OPatch version. So right now I don't have a OPatch version, so that's where the patch got failed here. So we can verify that OPatch version here, like grid OPatch version. You can see this is 1.17, but what it is requiring, it is complaining I need at least 1.27, right? So let me log into Oracle, so and then go back to U01 patches. So that error message, I know that's where now I already downloaded my latest OPatch version here. This is my OPatch 6880880 is my OPatch latest OPatch I downloaded. This is a patch number, OPatch number. I downloaded the latest patch here. So what I'll do now, I will directly go inside my grid home here, CD, and then I'll do it on this both the nodes. I'll just cancel this one here, exit. Right, so log into grid home and then move your OPatch, whatever that OPatch, I'll move it as a OPatch backup directory. Right, so I moved it here. What it says, okay, it cannot be moved, permission not denied. What's permission it's owned by? Let me see what's the permission here. LSFNLTR, LSFNLD. Right, so it's OPatch, and this particular directory is owned by Oracle install, and then OPatch backup permission denied. Okay, let me see OPatch. Okay, let's go back here on node 1, MV OPatch, because here also it may fail that it's unable to move. Then we can move it using root user. OPatch backup cannot move OPatch backup, permission denied. Okay, permission denied because this particular grid home is currently owned by root user. Let me see here. This is my grid home. When your grid home is locked and up and running, it will be owned by root user. Okay, let's -LD. And if you do this particular user on grid, so right now it is owned by root. That's where no Oracle user is not able to create that OPatch directory. So I'll just exit here, right, and then go back to your grid here, and now you can move OPatch underscore backup. Right, so now it is moved here. So similarly, I'll do it on node 2 with the root user. I logged in here. I'm gonna move it here now. Done. So you moved it here, and now you are gonna unzip that particular patch. So you can go back to U01 patches. Right, so unzip. This is the OPatch, and you're gonna do unzip -D, and then you're gonna give your grid home. Directly this particular OPatch is gonna unzip under your grid home. Right, so once this is done, we'll do it on the other node. Right, so I'm just gonna copy this command. We'll go to node 1. Okay, this patch is not here. I have to go inside user on patches and run the same command, right? So unzip is done. But one thing is now it is owned by root user. If you go back here, you need to change that permission because we unzipped with the root user, ls-ltr, opatch, right? So you can see this opatch is all owned by root user. So you can simply change that ch1 -r, capital R, it's recursively change the permission for opatch. Right, so this is the command ch1 -r Oracle : you no need to mention that o install, automatically it will take o install, or you can mention Oracle : o install. So now you change the permission. Now you can verify that permission, right? You can all see owned by o install now. Again, same thing, you can go to node 1 up to grid home. Once it is done, ls-ltr opatch. Again, you can see it's all owned by root. You can run this command ch1 -r Oracle : opatch. Everything will get changed to Oracle now, right? You can see I'll change to Oracle now. So now you can run this command Analyse one. Now we got, okay, you can verify that opatch command, right? So I'll run the same command whatever we ran it earlier. Where is that one? This is the opatch version what we ran. Now if I run it, you can see 1.28. It needs 1.27 at least, but we already have 1.28. That's a higher version. So we are good to go ahead and proceed with the patching. All right, now let's set the environment again. Plus asm, and I'll run the same opatch analyze command. opatch auto, apply, and the patch location, and then opatch analyze. Right, so I can take a duplicate session and then I can tail this particular log. Root, right? So it's all opened here. Let's tail -f. Right, you can see it's doing all this analyze online mode. You can see executing opatch prerequisites operation, patch applicability for this particular grid home, whether that patch is applicable or not, whether there is any space issue, whether there's any conflict checks, whatever we did it, everything it is your opatch Analyse will do for you, and it will give you a summary whether the patch is going to be uh, patch apply is going to be successful or not, right? You can see this particular beautiful summary here. Opatch auto successful, summary of that analysis for this applying this particular patches is completed successfully. This is your version, cluster version, this is your cluster home, and then these are 5 patches and respective logs it created here. You can go and read each of these logs, and then it successfully completed your session, and you are good to apply with that particular patch. So if you get this particular following message, then you're good to apply, proceed further. Let's go further now with readme. So we did opatch auto with analyze mode, and now it's a time for us to actually apply the patch. So if you set your path, you can directly use opatch auto apply and the patch location. That's the one thing. Or else you can use this opatch auto apply and then your grid home. So this also both will work fine. So I'll just copy both here. Both will do the same thing, right? So I'll just copy both the command and I'll give a comparison. Right, so once you set the environment, what you're going to do, opatch auto apply and your patch location, and specify your grid home, or don't specify your grid home, doesn't matter. Whatever the environment you set, it will take it here. So I prefer to go with always -oh and mentioning your grid home to be specific. And then if you set the opatch auto, you can just run the opatch auto from anywhere. If you don't set the environment, you can see if I do which opatch auto, and then it's gonna give me no opatch auto is set. So I had to use my opatch auto from my grid home. So I'm just gonna copy this entire thing here. I'm just gonna use it here instead of this just opatch auto. I'm just gonna use that opatch auto from my grid home location. And then instead of your grid home, I'm just going to mention $Oracle home. So that's the environment is set. So that's going to take it here. And then this is going to be your patch location. That's user home patches. Just copy here, and I'm going to change this location here. And I'm going to change it. You can either run this command, either you can run this command. Both are going to same, but I always prefer to go with -oh Oracle home to be specific to apply on that particular Oracle home. Right. So you can see This is the command you ran it now. opatchauto session initiated, and this is a log file. You can always go here and tail that log file. Okay, there's a dot at the end. That's where it's not reading. Right, this is a command. It's gonna actually apply command which is gonna bring down your cluster, and it's gonna apply. If you can validate your cluster status and all regularly. Not yet started. Yeah, it's again doing all the opatchauto prerequisites and all the things. So let me take one. Uh, give me quickly. I can take 86, right? Let me one putty session so that you can compare side by side. You can see right here, performing OPatch CRS is bringing down. You can see all these commands, what's happening here at the backend. And then let's see, I'm going to tail this particular log here. Not here, here. Tail -f, and this is the log file. You can see this is running your pre-patch command. Let me change the fonts. Appearance, okay. Window, okay. So let's make it 16. Apply, okay. Change setting, color. Background color, okay. Background color, I can just do this one. Apply. Oh, a lot of things, man. Okay, let's see. Colors, foreground. I'm just gonna do black one. Right, so let it go on. You can see this is the pre-patch command it's gonna run. Once the pre-patch command is run, it's gonna actually bring down your cluster where, if you see here, and then you can see now cluster where is down. It's gonna bring down your cluster and it's gonna unlock your grid DOM, and then start applying the patch. So opatchauto is very brilliant command, I can say. One thing is like it has only two commands. One is like opatchauto and the patch location and -analyze, which will give you exact summary whether it's going to be successfully apply or not. And if you remove that analyze, it's going to be your actual apply command. So this is going to be your actual apply command. So only two commands which will be very handy, and then performing the pre-patch operation is done, successfully brought down, and starting applying the binary patch at your grid home. If I go back here and this is a command, it's going to start here. And then with that opatchauto, one thing is, one of the prerequisites is your ASM is must. In order to use your opatchauto, you have to at least you have to use your ASM. If you are running standalone without ASM, so you cannot use your opatchauto. That's the first prerequisite. And then opatchauto, you can be used for your grid home patching, your DB home patching, and combination of your grid home and DB home, everything you can patch it using opatchauto. And if I go back to that readme of that, you can see, right, opatchauto apply and your patch location -oracle home 1, oracle home 2, and oracle home 3, and you can mention n number of oracle home if you want to patch your all oracle home. And then if you want to roll back, same thing. Instead of apply, you can use rollback, and you can give that patch location or the patch number, and then your GI home. Right, so that's a pretty simple opatchauto. But one thing is, like, one of the disadvantages of opatchauto, what I'm thinking, uh, right now you are seeing this particular patch is running here, and it is applying all these 5 patches. If any of the patch got failed, it will automatically roll back everything, and you have to start it again from the scratch. So that's one of the disadvantages I can say. Otherwise, your opatchauto is one of the brilliant tool which is doing a lot of automation. There's no way you can miss any of the step. Opatch will do it for you. Right, so you can see this is now the patch. It's getting applied, and this is a log. You can verify that pre-patch, how the pre-patch went, and all those things. You can see this is the pre-patch command, and then you can see it is gonna bring down your cluster and unlock and all those things. Everything you can see it here in this particular log file. Right, so successfully executed, and you can see bringing down and changing the permission, and you can see the pre-patch step for GI patching successfully completed. So this is the log file. The pre-patch steps for GI patching completed successfully. So that's a high level. This is a detailed log file. You can verify it, what all it has done, what all command it has executed internally, and all those things. And one thing like I can show you here, once the pre-patch is done and once the unlock is done, this particular grid dome earlier it was owned by root. Now you can see it is owned by Oracle now. You can see ls-ld, and then you can do ls-ld, sorry, ls-ld, and your grid home. You can see this is owned by Oracle now. Earlier it was owned by root before unlock. Now it is owned by Oracle, because once it's the permissions are changed and applied, permissions are given to grid user, the grid user can apply the patch on your grid Oracle home. Right. So yeah, it's going on. Let it go. I'll just tail this command again. Right, so this is the other command. So we can verify this particular log file as well if needed. Just cancel this one, tail -f, and this is actually the very first log file which get starts. And then if you want more details, you can go inside your grid dome CFG tool, and then you can verify all those logs. So you can see it here, right? Your grid dome CFG tool, opatchauto, and if I go here, sorry, I'll go back to my, yeah, if you go inside this opatchauto and do lsfnltr, you'll see all of these logs. So this is opatchauto binary log, so many log files you can see it here. Right, so this file is getting updated. This one log file, you can tail this one. So the same thing, error while loading. Yeah, these are log files. You can always verify them. Right, we have to wait until this particular patch command will get succeeds. So once this is done, it's automatically brings up your cluster and locks your cluster, and all your databases, everything becomes up automatically if there are any databases running under this particular clusterware. Right. So once this node 1 is done, we'll switch back to node 2, and then we will run the node 2 patching. The same command, we're going to run it. Right. So it's going on. Okay. So we'll give a few more minutes. Yes, grep small, not this one. This is my second node. If I go back here, psf and ef grep small, still going on. Right, so binary patch applied successfully on this home, performing the post patch operation and starting your CRS, and we'll wait. So for great indication, so it's doing a post patch. Earlier it ran the pre patch, now it's doing a post patch. And then it is running this post patch, and it will bring up your clusterware, and also it locks your grid home, and then grid home will be owned by root user now. Right, so you can do d.bin, all the services will be get started. You can see start wait or a blocker. Okay, all right. Right, so many daemon services are getting started here. ps-ef grep smon. Right, so you can set the environment to your asm.env plus asm1 crsctl stat resource -t -init. You can see most of the services are online. Only CTSST is observer mode. Yeah, everything is online now. You do ps-ef grep smon, it will be done now. Disk one is supposed to be offline. It's all online. Online, yeah. Right, your ASM is online now. Right, your cluster is started now. So if I go here and check my cluster ownership ls-ld of my grid home, right? You can see this grid home is owned by root now. Earlier it was owned by root. My pre-patch command changed that permission to back to Oracle, because once a permission change to Oracle, Oracle is your grid owner, and which will apply the patch on your grid home. And now the patching is done. Now it's doing a post patch, and that post patch command will set it back to root user. So that's a expected behavior of my your patching exercise, right? If I see here, it's still the pre-patch command. Right, so it will take a few more minutes. Once this is done, then probably we can switch to node 2, and then we'll start that. Right, so what I did, right, this particular command on node 1, it got successfully completed. The only difference here, like the moment uh, it says the performing post patch operation, and it successfully started all the services. And this particular summary is very, very important. The patching is completed successfully, and then find the below information: your node name, home, version, and the successfully applied this following patches. These are the 5 patches you see. These are the patch. This is my main patch, and then these are like 5 sub patches which are part of that main patch. So these are the logs associated to that. And then once that successful message comes here with the summary, and then you can go ahead and you can verify your cluster is back online, and you can connect back to your cluster environment, and you can verify with the OPatch LS patches. You can see all those 5 patches are applied on your clusterware. And also you can do your OPatch LS inventory grep applied. You can see this today's date. So all the patches are applied successfully. And then once that is successfully verified on node 1, I just quickly jumped on node 2 and then I ran the same command. If I go here, so this is my opatch analyze on my node 2. Same thing, same command, whatever you ran at the node 1, just run that opatchauto apply, and then your patch location -analyze. So that's going to give you same output. OPatch successfully completed. Summary analysis for this applying this patch is completed successfully, right? This is the node 2 home cluster version, and these are the following 5 patches. Going to apply it here, and then once that is successfully gets summary is read, and you can directly run that command without analyze. If you run that analyze, that's only a preview mode, and if you remove that analyze, that's going to be actual apply command. opatchauto apply, and then the patch location, and then if you run that against that grid home, and that's going to do the same thing. So initializing with this particular log file, and starting the session log here, and executing OPatch prerequisites here, and executing OPatch validation here, and performing the pre-task. So it's going to shut down your cluster, and it's going to unlock your grid home. So if I go back here on this node 2 here, right now, this was a pre-patch command which was running for this particular pre-patch operation, and then opatch auto. You can see this particular grid home is owned by root. Now the pre-patch command is successfully completed, and which will bring down your clusterware, and it will unlock that grid ownership from root to grid owner. Right, your clusterware is down here, and if you run the same ls-ld command, you can see now it is owned by Oracle. Earlier it was owned by root. It was unlocked here. The pre-patch command, whatever this command ran here, which will unlock, and it will give the permission to my grid owner or Oracle owner to apply the patch. Right, so that's done now. What we can do now here, okay, you can always prefer like go back to this particular, where is that? OPatch here. This particular CFG tool logs opatchauto, and then you can check for the core. Right now it says start applying binary patch. You don't know which patch what is going to happen. You can go inside this core and do LSF and LTR, and you will see opatch. Again, do LSF and LTR, and you'll see all the logs here. So this is actually a patch apply steps. So you can see this is actually patch. It's going to apply it here. It will see a lot of operations with this particular log file. Right, so it's doing all of this. So copying those binaries and all those things. Right, so again, it will take few more minutes. I'll just put a pause here, and then we will come back. Right, so still the patching still going on. Yeah, it will take the same time how much time it took here. Yeah, it's gonna do, if you read all this log file, it's gonna be very like whatever the manual method you're gonna do, it's gonna apply this patch, yes or no, automatically it'll take yes. So I think it's gonna same as what we used to do manual method. Right, so this is actually very good log file, which will give you more detail. Space required. Patch apply, yeah. Finish checking the prerequisites. Okay, doing 1, 2, 3. Following patches can be applied. So it's applying this 1, 2, 3 patch now. Right, so one of patch this MB. Okay, it's going to delete that old log file. Yeah, this is very interesting. So I always prefer, like I always recommend anybody who do any kind of activity, always open a new terminal and tail the log file. and see what's happening. So if you see this screen, you don't know what's happening, whether it's applying or whether it's moving or whether it's stuck or whether it's hang. You don't know. Once you do a tail of your log file, that's where you will be much confident. Oh, this is happening, this is going on, and that will give you some confidence. So always tail the log file, whatever activity you do. Make sure that you open a new session and then tail that particular log file. That will give you more information. Right, you can see the patching is done now. Now it says binary patch applied successfully on this grid home, performing the post patch operation. Now it's doing a post patch operation. So I'll just cancel this one. I'll go back and you can tail this one now. You can see this is doing a post patch. The fourth patch operation, what it will do, it's gonna change that permission back to grid user and it's gonna start my grid services, and it will start all the databases associated in that grid. You can see already it is ownership has changed to root now. For while patching it was changed to Oracle, now it is changed back to grid now. And then if I do ps-ef grep smon, okay, and then if I do d.bin, right, so all my demands are getting started. You can set the environment to env plus asm2 CRSCTL stat resource -t -init. You can see how most of the services are online, and your EVMD is intermediate, and your CRST yet to come. Yeah, the services are getting started now. Yeah, your CRST is now intermediate, and your EVMD is online. So once this is online, and your cluster will be communicating with. Okay, yeah, your CRSD is now online, and your ASM will be also back online. Now it is in communication with your other nodes. Right, your ASM2 is online now. Done. So post patch is all done. So if there are any databases running, this is a brand new clusterware setup. I don't have any database. If there are any databases are configured, automatically the moment cluster is brought online, your database will be brought online. Let's tail that log file again. Let's see. Yeah, still this is a post patch. All right, so that's a very interesting one. I can say the opatchauto is very interesting, and if you do a few more times practice, few more time exercise on how to use opatch, and there are so many other features with opatchauto. You can list out, like, you can practice yourself. There's like how to list out inactive patches, how to delete that inactive patch directories. There's so many other things you can always try to practice with opatch and opatchauto command, and that will make you more confidence. Right, so still going on. All right, so we'll give few more minutes. CRSCTL check CRS. Dot or inv plus items plus sm2. Okay, it's done. Yeah, you can see, right, performing the post patch operation, starting your CRS services, and post patch operation log can be found here. And then CRS service started successfully on this home, OPatch succeeded successfully. This summary is very important. Patching is completed successfully. If you see this message, that's a good indication. Please find the below summary and note to CRS home, CRS version, summary, successfully applied these following patches. Right, so you can verify it using opatch ls patches command, Oracle, and .inv plus sm2, and you can use your grid home /opatch/opatch ls patches, and you see all those 5 patches, right? You can see all these 5 patches here. And other command is ls inventory inv grep applied is a command which will tell you when these patches are applied, exact date and time. You can see this is the date and this is the time. Right, so your cluster is also up and running. CRS sorry, once again, CRSCTL check CRS. So it's all online. If I do it on node 1 also is online, and CRSCTL stat resource hyphen T, which will give you cluster wide information. So it's all done. Like that's a use case of how to use opatchauto, and then you can apply your latest opatch, latest CPU patch from your using opatchauto. Right. So that's it, guys, for the today's session. We'll come up with a new more demos and new more topics in our next session. Until then, take care. Bye bye.